Hey, in this video we'll learn how you could create a collection on Harness SEI. To begin with, you'll have to be logged into your Harness SEI account at the project level scope. Now I have already created a project and had my integrations mapped. In case you haven't done that, refer to the previous video on this playlist where we have covered how you could create a new project on Harness SEI and also get your integrations mapped. Now to define collections, you could think of collections as a logical unit where you essentially group together contributors based on certain definition. We also have a concept of collection categories, which are in this case teams and sprints, that is by default available whenever you create a new project. And collection categories are nothing but just a group of collections, right? Now you can also add more custom collection categories by clicking on this add custom plus button right here. And it'll show you a warning message and you could just click on proceed and then add your name for the collection category, description. You could choose to enable or disable it by default and then define the root collection name. Now, for each of these collection categories, we have something which is a root collection. In this case, it is all teams. And for sprints collection category, we have it as all sprints. Now, this root collection essentially acts like the starting point for the hierarchy of your collection definition, right? So now, moving forward, whenever you create new collections, you'll have to define this parent collection, which will automatically link back to all sprints. And similarly, for the teams collection category, it will link back to all teams. Now to create a new collection, you could just go ahead and click on this plus teams button. Now what it means is plus collection category name. So similarly, if I move back to the sprints collection category, I would have the button as plus sprints, which means plus collection category name, which in this case is sprints. So let's go ahead and create a new collection. Let me give it a name. Let's say collection 1 and then define a parent collection for it. So in this case, because we don't have any collections, so the only option that I have is all teams. So I'll go ahead and select it. You could also add a description and tags. These are optional, but you could do that. Now on the insights tab, you essentially associate insights with this particular collection that you're creating. Now this is useful when you are viewing an insight and navigating across different collections. And this is exactly where you define what are those set of insights which will be available to you at that particular collection scope. Now currently we don't have any insights because this project doesn't have any insight, but ideally when you have one, you'd be able to associate the available insights to the list of associated insight using this button right here. Now this is exactly where you define your collection definition. And now you could define collection definition in two different ways. It could either be a asset-based collection or a people-based collection. Now, an asset-based collection is nothing but where you set the definition based on integration, and a people-based collection is nothing but where you set the definition of the collection based on certain contributor attributes. Now, contributor attributes are nothing but the attributes that are present in your contributors' records in the account level scope, right? So let's create some definition for this collection. I'll go ahead and click on this plus integration button and select one of my integrations that I've created already. I'll click on this add filters icon to add filters on top of it. So I could essentially add filters across all the custom fields that are available in my issue management platform. In this case, it is Jira integrations. So I could just go ahead and say project and select a condition, let's say equals, and select a project, let's say SEI. Now what this will do is essentially go and get my integration, which is a Jira integration, which I've already created and mapped to this project, and fetch all the records out of it and then put a filter on top of it, which is project equals SEI. So whoever is part of the SEI project in my Jira account will essentially get automatically associated with this collection now, right? Now this is one way of defining it, and this is what we call as an asset-based collection because the source of truth here is an integration. Similarly, you could define a people-based collection as well, where you would use the contributor attribute option to define the filters, right, or the definition. So I could just go ahead and click on this contributor attribute and select some properties. Now the properties are nothing but the attributes that are present on the contributor records, which essentially was fed through a manual update or using some HRM portal, right? And I could just go ahead and select one of these attributes, let's say employer in this case, and select my condition and get the value, right? And I could do this for all the fields, let's say location equals, and then give out the value that I want to set, right? Now this is an example for people-based collection because what we are doing here is essentially using the source of truth as the contributor records to define the definition of my collection, right? So these are the two different ways how you could define a collection. Now you would essentially want to define your collection in a way where it could get data for your issue management, your source code management, and your CI/CD pipelines, right? So ideally, you would have an integration, which is a issue management integration, and similarly, you could add more integrations, let's say a CI/CD integration, and then add some filters on top of it, let's say project equals and something right there, right? And then essentially you would add a source code management integration, and with the filters, let's say wherever this team is essentially contributing to whatever repositories it is, right? So I would just maybe go ahead and say repository equals and select the set of repositories where this particular team is contributing to. Now this is an example of an ideal definition of how you should be defining your collection. I hope this video was useful for you, and in case you have any queries, feel free to reach out to us on Harness Support. Make sure to check out the documentation to learn more about how you can create and manage collections. The link should be available in the description box. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.